about her, no matter what, that she still looks solid. She looks stern. She looks in control. She always looks like the queen.
Well, I think it's to the point that we've heard so many people make who followed her incredible reign is that she loved her job and she relished that duty. And Victoria, that's a huge part of the legacy she leaves behind, and hoping that she's leaving the monarchy in good hands by leading the way with the way she led her people.
100% exactly. I think she had a very keen sense of the public mood, what the public wanted from her. I think she always approached the role with a sense of what do people want to see from me and how can I fulfill that responsibility? And people really felt that she was there for them. And I think that's why throughout changing times, so many people continued to have such a huge amount of respect for her. When she brought that new Prime Minister in just 2 days ago at Balmoral, not a lot of surprise that the meeting took place at Balmoral because we knew that she'd been struggling with mobility. But as you say, those pictures showing, you know, a real twinkle in her eye, and that was absolutely there right until the very end.
Oh,
that's a great way to put it, a twinkle.
And we saw it when she came out. Remember that when she came out? After that flyover there during the Jubilee, and that big smile, and yes, a twinkle in her eye.
But she stood there and she watched the flyover when the family joined her, but she stood there 20, 30 minutes. Yes, she was using her walking stick, fine, but she stood there and she had that big smile and she was interacting with her great grandkids at the time. I can't remember which one was playing around with her there.
Little Louie. He was, yeah.
But she was enjoying the time. And look, anytime there's something that comes up about her health, people have concern, but this certainly felt different. To anybody who is joining us now, we got word just a short time ago officially that yes, Queen Elizabeth II has died at the age of 96. This was after, at 7:30 Eastern Time, 12:30 in London, we got a previous notice, what some are calling unprecedented, an update on her health that was really concerning, where doctors said, and I quote, they were concerned about her health and that she was essentially being monitored by doctors.
And when we learned that her family was headed to Balmoral, that we knew that that was something significant indeed, and all of her children were there and her grandchildren arrived as well. So she was surrounded by family and she was in the home that she loved, her ancestral home. And Queen Elizabeth II, yes, we call her the second, but she was the queen of so many firsts. She's left her mark in so many unforgettable ways across the world, not just there in the UK. So let's take a look at the impact the Queen has had on many generations. For 7 decades, she made and witnessed history as the head of the royal family. In 2015, she became the longest reigning monarch in British history, outpacing her great-great-grandmother, Queen Victoria, and her 63 years of service on the throne. But Elizabeth II is queen of many other firsts. Her coronation ceremony in 1953, watched by a record 27 million people in the UK alone, was the first to be broadcast on television.
I here present unto you Queen Elizabeth, your undoubted queen.
Those famous royal walkabouts? Her Majesty started the tradition of greeting the public in 1970 during a tour in Sydney. The most traveled of any of her British predecessors, the Queen visited over 100 countries on behalf of the Crown.
The arrival of Queen Elizabeth of England to begin a state visit to West Germany,
including the first state visit to then West Germany in 1965. 21 years later, widely seen as one of her most historic tours, a critical act of diplomacy at the time, she became the first British monarch to visit China in 1986. And the first to address the U.S. Congress in 1991.
Force in the end is sterile. We have gone a better way. Our societies rest on mutual agreement, on contract, and on consensus.
Another historic first came in May of 2011, the first state visit to the Republic of Ireland by a British monarch in 100 years. It was the first time a reigning monarch traveled to the Emerald Isle since its separation from the United Kingdom.
That moment when she came off the aeroplane in Ireland, the Republic, and came down the steps dressed in St. Patrick's blue, and later on lowered her head at the memorial to those who had sought Republican success and who had fought for it. That was significant. And I think the Queen was trying to create an environment for an improvement in relations.
To all those who have suffered as a consequence of our troubled past, I extend my sincere thoughts and deep sympathy. With the benefit of historical hindsight, we can all see things which we would wish had been done differently, or not at all.
Queen Elizabeth II dead at the age of 96. We want to go back to Robert Jobson, who was there for us, who was one of our royal contributors. Robert, there is a king of England right now. Charles is king.